Last night I came across an awesome Twitter thread by Twitter user The Love Below, where they were sending out old videos of Elizabeth Warren, an interview from 2004, getting into effectively everything you needed to know at that time to avoid the housing crisis we would end up having not long after. Take a look at a little excerpt.
Think about what happens when you load up more debt on your house. Just you are rolling the dice at the table in Las Vegas, and here's how you're rolling it. You're rolling it that your income's going to continue to go up, that nothing serious is going to go wrong in your family that's going to make it hard to make those payments. Someone's going to get sick, you're going to lose a job, you're going to be without health insurance, someone's going to get divorced. None of those things are going to happen to you. And here comes the third one, the one you hit on. Home values are going to continue to rise. Does anyone have any memory? We know that home values fell just 20 years ago. They eventually recovered, right? But there are periods when they go down. Let's talk about Ronald Reagan's presidency. That's been in the news recently. Do you remember what was happening to home values in the early 80s? When interest rates go up, home values go down, and then here comes the real hooker. And when mortgage foreclosures start in earnest, it doesn't just affect the person who's been foreclosed against, it affects everybody up and down the block. When banks take homes away in foreclosure, housing prices for the entire neighborhood drop.
Okay, and that is just a small bit. It was obviously a long interview, and the interviewer, it's difficult to know now, looking back, to what extent he was sort of playing devil's advocate, but he was echoing a lot of the popular wisdom about, like, hey, it's going to be fine.
No, I mean, he was. I mean, that's David Brancaccio, who believes in just about everything that Elizabeth Warren is preaching. And that show was Bill Moyer's show that Brancaccio then took over. And
I can always count on you to know these people.
Yeah, well, and he was an NPR guy, David Brancaccio. And it took him a while to get good on TV, but that show was great. And the questions he would ask were almost feeding her the opportunity to answer in that way. It's really, and that's what put Elizabeth Warren and her ideas on the map in the first place with the Consumer Financial Protection Board.
Yeah, and there's much more. Go to twitter.com/thelovebelow, the O is a 0, and you can see more of those. There's a bunch of them. And I just think about, like, what she was trying to accomplish in the years leading up to the crash. And obviously the crash wasn't just about housing, but that was a very significant part of it. And then look at, like, our current leadership, what they were doing. Donald Trump was opening up, like, companies like directly that would be destroyed by that a year before and talking it up. And obviously all of a lot of the financial pundits were like just encouraging people to go all in and everything. And like she knew, and nobody cares. It doesn't matter at all. Who cares? And that, I mean, one of the reasons I'm showing this is because writ large across the entirety of her identity and her campaign is kind of the thing. It's like, oh yeah, she's super smart and wonky. That's like a bad thing. That's what's said. That's bad about her. That she knew ahead of time that she was on the ball. Obviously, later on she would be involved in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Really important in those areas as well. But how little progress she's made on a platform of actually understanding the real financial challenges that individuals and the country face, having an actual plan to deal with them. It's like she's moved up a couple points.
Right, that's true. And it's a good segue to when we're going to be talking about climate, et cetera, in just a little bit, because it's one of the issues that makes politics really difficult for the politicians is issues like climate change, like what Elizabeth Warren was saying way back then, which are, you don't feel them today. She was talking about eventualities, divorce, death, illness, that sort of thing, foreclosure. You don't prepare for those things until you hit them when they happen. That's what makes them difficult campaign issues, and that's what makes her campaign and her candidacy a challenge for her, is to talk about things that what could happen. Here's why we need this. This is the plan, rather than right now, et cetera, on those issues. She's doing it more. She's getting a little more traction. There are 21, 22 people running right now. It's sort of difficult.
And it's gonna be a long race and everything. It's just like when I think about, God, if only we as a species were a little bit better at looking more than 5 minutes into the future.
Yeah.
That like Donald Trump won telling people literally at the convention, I alone can solve our problems. I alone can protect you. And what has he done? He dismantles the entire federal bureaucracy that would look into white supremacist and other extremist far-right violence. We're having a lot more of that, obviously. Wastes a ton of money on a wall that doesn't do anything to protect us. Tries to take away your health insurance, making it much more likely, and that far more than anything related to terrorism is going to lead to you possibly getting sick or dying. Meanwhile, she's actually looking ahead to the real risks, financial and otherwise.
Right, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Donald Trump's saying, they're at our borders. Donald Trump is saying, China's trying to kill us. We have to get into a trade war. These things are immediate emergencies, and only I can stop the emergency. That plays on the campaign trail as it did then, talking about eventualities. I mean, we heard it from Al Gore on climate change too. It's very difficult to say, hey, in 40 years this is gonna happen. You see it on social media right now. I mean, on Social Security right now, when people say, oh, the Social Security Trust Fund, oh, in 3032, or 3026 or 3035, it's going to expire. Well, that's not today, right? Yeah. And that's what makes it difficult to translate when you're running for office. It shouldn't, and people are making strides with it, but it's a real frustration.
Yeah, and I understand that like these old videos, nobody cares. It's not going to get any views, but buckle up. I like them. I want to know who these people were, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, and to the extent that we can find that stuff, it was harder before YouTube. Thankfully, we in this case have been able to with Elizabeth Warren. So I'm going to continue.
Tax returns we can't get. This
no,
we
that's
can
tough.
Get. Yeah.
Tweets maybe. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.